Hi everyone, and welcome back to the holding. Today I'm planting some Paulownia tomentosa. So basically I got into growing Paulownia at home, my back garden. I've done it as like a jungle garden with tree ferns and T-Rex and hostas, lots of greenery, lots of foliage, big leaves, this sort of thing. I got into planting Paulownia because I couldn't find anyone who was selling them online, so I bought some seeds and they actually took really well from seed. Quite easy to do, and very cheap seed too. It was literally, I think, 2 years ago. These trees that are left here are 2-year-old trees. So I only wanted a couple for home. I grew a couple, and that was fine. But I bought a pack of seeds, and I think for the weight there was something like 100,000 seeds in there, and I thought, it's probably going to be a really bad germination rate or something. So I sowed a couple of trays really quite thickly, and I just had probably a couple of thousand. They all took. So I thought to myself, well, you know what? I can't really see many people selling them online, so I'm gonna pot them on and see if I can sell them. I tend to do this sort of thing. I just trying things, see if I can make a bit of money at it. Obviously, trying to make the small holding pay. So I potted on and grew about 1,000 of them. In the first year, in these little pots, these are only 13 centimetre pots, and in the first year they got to some of them about 4 foot, something like that. Fairly big leaves on them, and I sold quite a few on eBay and that. I then had a bit of a issue with eBay. For some reason, they just banned me for life. Just all of a sudden, no warning, completely banned me for life. And kept all my money. So they're still holding about £500 of my money. We looked into it a little bit, and it's happened to a few people. It's just some algorithm for some reason picks you up and just it finds you and thinks you're a threat for some reason. So anyway, I got banned completely, and I ended up not selling a lot of them. So all these have been sat here. These are now 2-year-old. They've been coppiced down and regrown a little bit. And I've sold a few this year. My wife made an eBay account. We've sold a few more in her name on eBay, and nothing's happened. It's been going okay. But so I was selling 2-year-old coppiced Paulownia. But obviously this year, this is the sort of size they got to. They only got to sort of 10 or 12 inches. Some of them have multi-stems, 4 or 5 stems. But I'm not going to sell any 3-year-old ones because they're pot bound now, and they really just need to either be chucked or planted. And I'll sow some more next spring and sell some more first year ones. But these ones, any that are fairly healthy, they've obviously lost their leaves and they're starting to die back a little bit. They're not particularly frost hardy, the tips, so the tips will die back and they'll grow again from the bottom. But what I want to try is just planting them out in some of the spaces where I've lost some of the eucalyptus trees, and any sort of gaps I've got, I'm just going to bung a few in and just see how they grow, because they're quite an interesting tree. They're a hardwood, but they're a very lightweight hardwood, but the wood itself is very rot resistant. And if you can get it to grow, the thing in this country with Paulownia tomentosa, they do hybrids that are like frost hardy, and should grow as nice straight timber trees. With tomentosa, you sometimes get the tips die back and you might get a bit more of a branchy tree. But even so, I'd like to see what it's like as a firewood. But ideally, I want to try and grow them as a straight tree and then see in 8 years, perhaps, because they'll get to this sort of size, this sort of thickness trunk, relatively in under 10 years. And I was going to try and plank them with a chainsaw mill and use them for like siding up my little shacks and buildings that I've got around the holding, because they last for decades apparently without rotting. So it's a very interesting sort of wood. So rather than just chuck all these in the compost, the better ones, I'm going to just bung them in and see how they do, really. So let's go and plant a few. So I'm going to start off just putting a few in these gaps. So I lost a couple of eucalyptus here. So I'll pop 3 or 4 in here, and then in any other gaps just dotted about. But I'm going to try and get a few more just down this bottom end behind me here, just in this side of this belt of trees. The soil's a little bit deeper there. It's very dry up this bank, as I've said before. The soil's a bit deeper and a bit more rich down there. So I think they'll probably do a little bit better. Now, because I've got a bit of a bad back, I always try to look for ways of making anything, especially digging, a little bit easier. So whenever I plant trees that are in small enough pots, or if I'm planting little bare root whips, I've got a little tool that I use now. I've got a still auger, so this just makes things a whole lot easier, really. Let's drill a few holes. So having an auger now, it does make it so much easier for me with my bad back planting trees. It's, you know, if you're doing dozens and dozens, it's still a bit of hard work, but it's now saved my back and my elbows, because the ground is so stony here that jarring your wrists and your elbows when you're trying to dig the holes is a nightmare. If you're thinking of getting one, now you can get cheap ones. I've seen them online, I think for about 100, 150 quid, but they don't have this safety clutch thing cut out. So what that does, if you hit a stone and it twists round, even with this, it can hit you, especially if you're a bloke in the old family jewels, and pretty painful. Without this, I think it could do you some real damage, and it could really knacker your wrists a bit. So it's worth spending the extra, and or as I did, getting a second-hand one, to get one with this safety cut out. It just, as soon as it hits a stone, it just this hits your side and it just shuts it off, locks it up. So it depends on your ground, really. I mean, this is really stony, as you could probably see with some of them holes. I can't do it on full revs. If I do it on full revs, it still jars my wrist quite a bit. I have to just do little revs and slowly sort of go in, just to be on the safe side. But it does dig a good size hole. So these are in some poly bags. They're probably five inches across, and I mean, they just go straight in the holes. I think that's a 6-inch auger piece I've got on there, and there's a smaller one, about a 2-inch one as well, that came with it. But yeah, so this is ideal for popping these sort of size pots in, these poly pots, just little bags. But I'm hoping these will do well. I have got a few guards. I haven't got enough to guard all of them, so a lot of them I'm just going to bung them in and just see what they do, really. It's funny, I did plant a few out last year, and most of them died in the drought. I didn't waste water on them because I wanted to keep the eucalyptus alive. But the rabbits didn't seem to touch them. I thought, because they were the young growth was quite fleshy, I thought the rabbits would just hammer them. But it's quite a sort of, it's like the leaves and the stem has like sort of furry, it's almost like sort of fouty, slightly furry. Maybe that puts them off, I don't know, but I will guard what I've got. I've probably got the 20 odd guards from the trees that have died here. I've got odd bits of white left over, but I'm only probably going to have enough for 30, maybe 40. If I'm planting maybe 100 out, then they're just going to have to take their chances, really. But again, when I update next year, do a little update video for the eucalyptus, I'll include these. Not quite sure how they're going to do, but you know, it'd be interesting. It's just another tree, another fast growing tree, that potentially I would like to get some planks out of. But if not, if it grows a bit branchy and doesn't go straight, then I shall just log it up for firewood and see how it burns. Even though it's a light hardwood, you know, all wood will burn, so we'll just see how they do. But yeah, so it's just another tree. I think I'm going to order a few more sycamores as well, just in case these eucalypts don't come on as much as I hoped. I know sycamore, as well as the birch that I grow for firewood, I know that does well here, so I'm probably going to order a bunch of 50 sycamores fairly soon, perhaps just after Christmas, and pop those in for firewood as well. But because this year with the gas prices the way they are, we're using our fire a lot more than we were, and I've actually been surprised already this year how much wood we've gone through. So I really want to up my my tree planting for the next couple of years, and just get every gap that I've got filled with something, something. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, anyway, if you're enjoying the videos, please remember to like and subscribe. Plenty more to come, all sorts of ideas I've got coming. And take it easy, guys. We'll see you next time, and stay warm.